Hey everyone, I'm Hollander Cooper.
And I'm Lucas Sullivan.
And we reviewed the next-gen systems. I actually reviewed the Xbox One.
I did the PS4.
And we've been talking a lot in the office about which one is better. Which one should you buy right now? And we figured, why not make a video about it? Let's pit them against each other, right? Note, this is specifically speaking about right now. Obviously, realistically, you're going to want to eventually buy them both. Let's just... to be totally honest, and they're both going to battle it out. A year from now, things are going to be totally different, but as of launch, as of the month or two after launch, which one is the best? So,
let's find out.
Yeah. First up, games. Obviously, games are a huge deal, and it's kind of an interesting situation right now because the Xbox, as it stands, I'd say it has better exclusives. Rise, not amazing, but pretty good. Same with Forza. Dead Rising 3 is pretty good. Killer Instinct, I know you're a big fan.
Oh god, yes.
Pretty good. There's so many pretty good games that are exclusive to the Xbox One. Even like Power Star Golf and Crimson Dragon's okay. There's just a lot of cool exclusives.
Right on, yeah. Compared to the PS4, they got a lot more. On PS4, in terms of exclusives, you really only have Killzone Shadowfall.
Which is really fun.
Great looking game,
probably
for sure.
The best next-gen exclusive.
Right, and then Resogun, which looks amazing in a next-gen way, but, you know, it's an arcade shooter.
Yeah.
And
Knack. sorry, no Knack.
What the PS4 does have going for it is the non-exclusives, the multi-platform stuff. So like Battlefield 4, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, Call of Duty Ghosts, they all look amazing on PS4.
Yeah, it's the better version on the PS4. So while the Xbox One does have the upper hand with exclusives, it really suffers in that the multi-platform games aren't as good.
It's kind of a funny, hollow victory for the Xbox One because the multi-platform stuff's better on PS4, but in terms of exclusives, you probably want to go with Xbox One.
And overall, the multi-platform games are the best games currently available on next gen, so it's a weird situation. We're just going to call it a wash.
So let's talk about the camera. Now, I know it's a little bit of an unfair fight because the PlayStation camera isn't packed in with the system, but if you're gonna spend the $60 on it, it's not a total waste of money.
Right.
You can play around with the Playroom, which is kind of neat. You can navigate through menus using voice. It's not as accurate as the Kinect, say, but it is kind of cool. And
we should acknowledge how ridiculously cool the Kinect is. None of the games use it to its full potential, but every game has a little glimmer of showing what it can do. And once you mix everything together, once you look at the fact that Dead Rising essentially replaces the need for motion controls with just, like, you shake the controller to shake off a zombie, that's pretty cool. Being able to use your voice to navigate everything. It doesn't work all the time, but when it does, you feel like a Jedi. You are just like, Xbox, go to this, Xbox, go to that, and it's just like, whatever, I can do everything. Super cool.
So we gotta give it to the Kinect and the Xbox One on this one. A pretty clear choice, basically because Microsoft is gonna prioritize the Kinect. They know they have basically everyone that has an Xbox One has a Kinect, so they have to cater to that. Whereas the PlayStation camera, the install base is going to be a lot smaller.
Yeah, and it just doesn't work as well. It's great because you can use it for broadcasting, like it can be a little picture of you on the bottom right when you're live streaming, but there's a reason besides the price that it didn't become a packed-in thing with the system, and it's just that it's not that great. Next up, we're going to talk sharing. Obviously a big part of next gen, being able to live stream, being able to capture footage. Both systems have some kind of DVR type feature where you can just record gameplay. The Xbox is super simple. All you need to do is say, Xbox record that, and it does. Issue being there's no way to broadcast it live on Twitch. Eventually that's coming, but it didn't make launch.
You know it has it right now, the
what
PS4.
Does? Oh my god.
Yep, you got built-in Twitch and Ustream streaming, which is pretty awesome.
The share button.
You got the share button. Not only can it stream, but it can upload video and screenshots. The only problem is it's to Facebook and Twitter right now. They're gonna change that, but in either case, the share button is pretty huge. It could change the way people just show their friends cool stuff they did in games.
Yeah, the benefit of the Xbox is you are capturing that footage and you can throw it on your SkyDrive and just get a video file, so you can technically put it anywhere, but you do have to jump through a few more hoops. That share button makes a big difference, and honestly, just because it launched with the ability to broadcast, the PlayStation 4 right now is a better system for those wanting to share their experiences online. You can take screenshots. There's just so much you can do with that button, and the ability to broadcast it, it makes a big difference.
So in terms of having a second screen, the PS4's got the Vita Remote Play going for it.
Yes.
And this actually works surprisingly well. If you connect your Vita to the same network as a PS4, or if you're playing, you know, from home, it works surprisingly smoothly.
Yeah, and you can actually connect directly to the system too, as long as you're like within 15 feet. And some games even remap the controls. Call of Duty, for instance, puts things that normally with the L1 and L2 or R1 and the front buttons onto the touchscreen, so you can actually just tap your grenades, which is
awesome.
Really cool. The Xbox has Smart Glass, which is also pretty cool. With Dead Rising, it actually looks, if you're using it on the phone, like an app. Okay. And it lets you like use your menu, check different things. You can get phone calls on it, but there are only a few games that actually take advantage of it. Some other games use it for like stuff that could easily be in the game, like, oh, here's what's happened to you so far. So not every game uses it as well as a game like Dead Rising.
So we're definitely gonna have to give it to the PS4 on this one. The ability to play your PS4 remotely, either from another room or from another state, is just a game changer.
Yeah, it's not super consistent right now. I've had some problems with it, like even within the same distance, sometimes it drops out. But when it works, and it works most of the time, wow.
Magnifique.
Magnifique. Online's obviously a big deal, and now that PlayStation Plus is required to play online games, we can actually have an apples-to-apples argument about it. And the Xbox still has Xbox Live, and Xbox Live is still great. Your games are going to run great online. Obviously, it's a case-by-case basis, but a majority of the time it's going to run great online. Party chat works. All of those things work as well as they did before, with the advantage of before, if you had like a few people in the same house who wanted to play, everybody needed their own Xbox Live Gold, or you needed to have a family plan. Now you just have your system at your house is gold, anybody who uses it. That's really cool, and it also ties into the ability to use TV. There are so many cool features that are locked behind that ridiculous wall that is the paywall. But once you get past it, so much cool stuff.
Very cool. So I think Sony kind of stepped it up because they saw how Microsoft did last generation with all the online stuff. I think PlayStation Plus is one of the best values you can get right now, because the amount of free games you get, the smoothness of the online play, and just the ease of use of the store is a huge boon. The only drawback on PS4 is that if you want to listen to music or watch video, TV, you have to use Music Unlimited and Video Unlimited. Not bad services, but just probably not what you're looking for.
Right. And in a shocking change from last gen, the PlayStation 4 is a better online service, and honestly, it's because of the games. When I got my PS4 at home, I instantly had access, because I had PlayStation Plus, to like 7 games.
Free games are king. Like, everyone loves free.
They're sort of even when it comes to stability and being able to chat with people. Those are just as easy on both, but just the fact that like Contrast and Resogun, not the best games, but just free games. They're just so, and also just games I had from my other system. It was really easy to get a bunch of stuff, and that's all baked into PlayStation Plus. It's not always going to be that way, because Microsoft is going to come back with some free games. But as of now, if you're going to pay for one subscription to play online games and get bonuses, you may as well get the one that comes with a bunch of free games.
So if you're going to be playing a game, there's a good chance you're actually using a controller.
And good, unless you're totally off screen.
Unless you're doing a little motion capture. But in terms of a physical controller, the DualShock 4 is a huge step up from the DualShock 3. No more running your thumbs into each other on the joysticks.
I hated that.
It's the worst.
Bruises on my thumbs.
The buttons and D-pad are just as tight as they ever were, and the touchpad's actually pretty cool. Not a whole lot of games use it right now, but if developers can figure out how to utilize that, that'll be really interesting to see.
What you said about the touchpad kind of reminds me of the impulse triggers on the Xbox One's controller. The Xbox 360 hands down had the better controller last gen. For my money, it may be one of the best controllers of all time, if not the best.
Agreed.
And the Xbox One's controller, in comparison, I'd say is a little worse. I find the triggers a little hollow.
Those bumpers like to fight against you.
The bumpers are kind of weird. The feel is the same. The analog sticks, I'd say, are just as good. The D-pad's a little better, but the shoulder buttons are just kind of weird. The impulse triggers are cool when games use them well. Crimson Dragon uses it extremely well. Some of the games I played, it just kind of tickles your fingers while you're playing. So it ends up being kind of a mixed bag, to use an overused phrase, but it's still that same great controller you like, just with some little things you're going to like more and some little things you're going to like less.
So this one's going to be a tie, just because the PS4 is a big step up from the PS3. The Xbox One controller, a little bit of a step down.
Just like a half step.
Just a notch.
The PS4 controller climbed like 3 ladders, and the Xbox One was like, "What's going on down there?"
But yeah, they end up in a pretty even space where they're really comfortable to use. You can use them for long marathon periods of gaming. Just pretty much the best equivalent we've seen from the two consoles.
Yeah. With all the non-gaming functionality on the next-gen consoles, the UI is a huge deal, and the Xbox One's UI takes some getting used to. At first I was super down on it because it's just 3 pages of stuff that you don't necessarily know why it's all there. You don't know how to get to stuff. The Kinect is sitting there looking at you. You gotta scream at it to get you to do stuff. You end up just wanting to be like, Xbox, do this for me. It's kind of hard to find your way around it. But once you do, once you know what commands you have to say, once you know which buttons do what and where everything is, the Xbox One's user interface is fantastic. It takes a while to get there. You have to learn some things.
But
it's not it's not crazy intuitive, but once you get there, it is wonderful.
I'd say by comparison, the PS4's UI is a lot simpler. There's less sort of to do once you know how it works. It's just, there's your games, here's all the settings you can adjust. But that said, it is really clean and easy to get into and out of games using the PS button. So, you know, it's not super complicated, but that's not such a bad thing.
In the end, though, the ease of access of the PlayStation 4 doesn't give you as much as how robust Xbox One's is, especially considering the ability to resume a game. Like, you can be playing a game, turn your system off, even a game that has like a lengthy load time, turn your system back on, and you're right back in the game.
Crazy.
It is so crazy. PlayStation 4 is eventually going to have that, and it was promised for launch, but it did not make it. So after you get used to both of them, there is more you can do with the Xbox One's UI. It's super customizable. You can't even change the background of the PS4.
My God.
That's crazy to me. But in the end, we're going to have to give this one to the Xbox One.
So in terms of potential, both systems have a huge amount of it. When it comes to the PS4, you got great exclusives like Infamous Second Son, Uncharted, which is going to be a huge one.
Oh yeah.
And then the non-exclusives are great too. You got Destiny, Watch Dogs, basically a whole swath of games that'll be amazing on both consoles.
Yeah.
And 6 months from down the line, Sony should have implemented a lot of the features they promised, such as being able to jump in and help another friend in their game, sharing directly to YouTube instead of to social media. And the touchpad actually offers a lot of wiggle room for developers. If they can utilize it in a cool way, that could be huge.
And streaming. Gaikai streaming is eventually going to hit the PlayStation 4,
right,
and that's going to give you backwards compatibility. If you listen to what Sony's saying, it's going to just give you hand jobs. It's going to give you everything. You're going to get everything you want as soon as that streaming is eventually released. The Xbox One isn't going to have that streaming, I don't think. They haven't really talked much about that sort of thing. It may eventually get it, but what it does have is a more robust list of exclusives we can point a finger at and say, like, that is right down the line. We know there's a new Halo. We know there's the new Remedy game. We know there's the new Black Tusk game, which I don't even know what that is. They showed like one clip, and it's just like a guy with a beanie like sliding into a room.
For me.
Titanfall. Titanfall, it's going to come out in PC and last gen, but it's not going to hit the PlayStation 4. I'm sorry, but it is going to be on the Xbox One. Also, things like streaming right down the line, probably. So it's going to be able to catch up in a lot of the things that it didn't have at launch.
So this one's too early to call. We're going to call it a tie, because everything we know about is cool, and everything we don't know about that's currently being worked on behind the scenes is also cool.
Yeah, there's obviously going to be some exclusives that we're going to find out about at like even just like the Spike VGAs and at E3 next year. This is the beginning. So potential, they both have all of it. So definitely a tie. What, we're gonna give a winner for who won next gen already? No, but it's obviously way too early to tell. Both systems are pretty close when it comes to what we think for the next few years, but at launch, the winner is...
We're gonna have to give it to the PS4. By a hair.
Just the littlest hair on its chinny chin chin.
And it's because while the exclusive games might not be amazing, in terms of actual value across the board, the PS4 is giving you a lot of what you're looking for in a next-gen console. You're paying $100 less, you're getting the best versions of multi-platform
and those multi-platform games are the best games available on next-gen right now. It's not like the Xbox One's exclusives are better than Battlefield or Assassin's Creed. They're just not.
Not gonna happen.
No, not yet.
And you get free games with PSN. So the ease of use with the PS4, it's not really a detriment, it's more of a plus here. All in all, I think we're gonna have to just barely give this to the PS4.
But remember, this is just the beginning. Every so often we're gonna go back and maybe we'll have another conversation like this right after E3 or maybe a year from now. Be sure to come back to GamesRadar all the time, every waking moment, to find out what's going on in the industry, to find reviews, videos, all your favorite stuff. And we'll talk to you later.